Hey, what up, guys? Doing another What's Next. This is on Ronny Rios, former world title challenger. He's currently the WBA gold champion, whatever the fuck that means. It's kind of a number one contender status is what that means. He's not really a world champion. Just the WBA calls about 50 guys world champs in each division, so it's a little confusing. But anyways, let's break down and see what's next for Ronny Rios. Well, we pretty much know already. It looks like he's lined up to challenge for the world title against for the WBA regular world title that's been ordered by the WBA for him to challenge undefeated Brandon Figueroa sometime this year. You know, once the coronavirus pandemic lifts, that's already been a mandatory order fight. So, excuse me, that fight's happening for sure. Now, personally, I feel Rios is going to lose that fight. I think Figueroa is going to break him down and going to knock him out, but I think it's going to be a fun and entertaining fight. But I do believe Rios is a live underdog. He hasn't fought since November. He got a knockout win over a low-level opponent, but that was right after scoring his career best win in 2019, an upset sixth-round knockout over Diego De La Hoya. So heading into this fight, he's riding a whole wave of confidence. And, you know, Brandon Figueroa didn't look great in his last fight. He was really explosive prior to that. And then he took his, pretty much his toughest opponent and former champ, Julio Ceja. He took on Ceja, and Ceja came in overweight, but he really battled. He really battled him hard. It was a good, hard-fought fight between the two. And Figueroa ended up walking out the world. Figueroa held on to his world title, or the fight was declared a draw. So Figueroa held on to his title, but it by no means was easy at all. So we're gonna see what happens next for Ronny Rios if he wins. That's what we're gonna run through the top 10 and look at what could happen if Ronny Rios wins the fight against Brandon Figueroa on whenever they do go down. Because again, I think it could happen. Rios has played the underdog and upset role before. And again, Figueroa didn't look great in his last fight. So let's run through the top 10. Number 1, unified champ, Mirajan Akhmadiev. Akhmadiev's got a mandatory in his next fight. Rios is facing Figueroa. If both guys win, which I think Akhmadiev will. I don't think Rios will, but I do believe he's a live underdog. If he pulls it off, could he face Akhmadiev next? Yeah, because Akhmadiev holds the WBA super title, and Rios would be the regular champ. Both guys are with DAZN, but one guy's Golden Boy, one guy's Matchroom. It definitely is a possibility if both guys can pull off the win, so we'll see. Number 2 is former champion, unified champion Daniel Roman. Another guy, he's with DAZN. He's an established former champ. He's with DAZN, and it's Matchroom going against Golden Boy. Daniel Roman's with Matchroom. So again, it would be a good competitive bout between two guys that have been there and done that. So it could happen. Yeah, I think he could be an option next for Rios. Number 3 is WBO champion Emmanuel Navarrete. I don't think this fight would go down just because Navarrete is with ESPN and Top Rank, and they would probably want to bring the fight over there. I'm sure Golden Boy and Oscar would like to keep Ronny Rios in-house at DAZN and face a Matchroom guy and keep the fight purely DAZN or another Golden Boy guy. So that's what I think happens there. Number 4 is, let me see here. Number 4 is undefeated WBC champion Ray Vargas. If Vargas was still a Golden Boy, this would actually be a rematch. If Vargas was still a Golden Boy, this fight would make a lot of sense, but unfortunately, Vargas isn't with Golden Boy anymore. So, yeah, he's with the PBC now. It would be Golden Boy working with the PBC, and that's just not going to happen. Plus, Vargas, he already beat him. So why would he need to fight him again? It just wouldn't make sense for Vargas to take a fight, especially if the two sides have to come together. So, yeah, I'm not seeing it. Number 5 is IBF interim champion, former world champion Risque Iwasa. Iwasa's got the mandatory against Akhmadiev next. If he were to pull off the upset and become the unified champ, and Ronny Rios pulled off the upset and beat Figueroa, then yeah, I could see the fight going down. But to both guys to pull off upsets now, they wouldn't be it wouldn't be huge upsets. So it's possible that both guys can win, but I just think it's not likely. You're going to get at least one of the favorites are probably going to win here, maybe both. But I think it is possible, but not likely. Number 7 right now in the division is, number 6 is former world title challenger Razat Havanassian. Havanassian is number 1 in the WBA, and this would actually be a rematch. He's actually number 1 in the WBA. If Rios became world champion, if he captured the world title, then, the WBA regular belt, would the WBA mandate him and Havanassian in a rematch right out the gate when Rios just got mandated? I don't think they would make it a mandatory right away, but I think the fight could happen if Rios wanted it to happen. They're both Golden Boy guys. Maybe Rios wants to get some revenge, and Golden Boy would probably really push hard to make this rematch. So I think it could happen, definitely, for sure. Next at number 7 is undefeated Brandon Figueroa. This fight is happening. Next at number 8 is Ronny Rios. He's my number 8 super bantamweight in the world right now. Number 9 is Inuit Baluta, who just upset TJ Doheny. If Rios were to beat Figueroa and Baluta sitting there coming off the upset win over TJ Doheny, maybe Rios, just to stay busy, would welcome a fight with Baluta. I think it'd be possible. I think Golden Boy would be willing to bring him over. And then finally, TJ Doheny. Well, according to the Matchroom website, TJ Doheny is still with Matchroom. So, I guess Rios, if he wanted to just stay busy and give Doheny a chance, he could. But he's with Matchroom. That'd be Matchroom working with Golden Boy. I probably lean towards the less likely because Rios probably wants bigger fights. But TJ Doheny's not a snub name. He's still a solid fighter. He just got upset, and I think it was a fluke. I don't think it was anything major. So I think, personally, my opinion, I think Doheny is in line, and could fight for it. But yeah, on the less likely side. What do I think Ronny Rios does next? If he's victorious over Brandon Figueroa, man, it really could be anything, but I think the most logical choice is a rematch with Razat Havanassian because, or a rematch with Figueroa, depending on how he beats him. I'm not sure if Figueroa is going to have a rematch clause in the contract because it's a mandatory title fight. Would Rios sign up for that? Would he say okay to that? Is Brandon Figueroa going to try to demand that in the contract? We don't know yet, but it's possible. I think that's a possibility, a rematch, or probably a rematch with Razat Havanassian, just because they're both with Golden Boy, and as Havanassian is the number 1 ranked contender in the WBA. So I think Oscar and Golden Boy would really push for that fight to happen. But at the end of the day, I don't think Rios beats. I don't think he's going to beat him. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So it should be good later this year. Ronny Rios versus Brandon Figueroa. That's the what's next on my number 8 super bantamweight in the world at 122, Ronny Rios. Hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.